Okay, everyone, we're about that time. So for anyone who came in late, if you'd like your site reviewed, please bring us a card. If we don't get time to do the review during the session, then one of us will do our best to reach out to you during the show or after the show to just give you a couple of tips and points. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to introduce ourselves real quick, then we're going to tell you all some of the tools we use within our own agencies, and then we'll get started on the first few sites. So my name's Adam Riemer. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I run Adam Riemer Marketing. We do SEO, affiliate management, adware detection, and theft and fraud prevention. This is Scott Polk.
Hi, my name is Scott Polk, and I own an agency called Marketing Nomads, and we specialize in SEO and promotion of content for pretty much anything.
And my name's Kenny Hyder with Hyder Media and also Equate Media. I do high competition SEO and affiliate marketing and also lead generation.
Great. So some of the tools that we use within our agency and that we're using behind the scenes on our computers, this one, I'm not going to have my tools open because we have to show you guys the sites, but we use SEMrush, semrush.com. We use ahrefs.com. We use Majestic SEO, and which other ones are you guys using?
Google.
The Google.
Google, Pingdom, built with a bunch of free tools.
So other great tools to use but we can't use because of time constraints and bandwidth would be Screaming Frog and Deep Crawl. If analytics issues, I always go to analytics.com, and Cushing is an amazing resource. And that's pretty much enough to get anyone in this room going with some really good and easy to use tools. The Affiliate Summit hashtag is ASW16. What else do we have to mention on there? And yeah, thank you all for coming. So our first site is bloodsugarnews.com. Whose site is this? Hi. So what are you hoping to get out of this, or what is the current issue you're having with your site?
We'd like to get higher conversion off of the pre-sale page.
Okay. So your goal, and it's not about ranking then, it's about converting the page?
It's about getting, if 100 people land on that page, getting 25% or more to click through to the product page.
So first question is, where do you get your traffic from?
So we're driving traffic this typically through display ads.
Okay.
On sites like CNN.com.
So you're doing managed placements, or?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And how big is your campaign?
How big?
Yeah, like in terms of spend, monthly?
Let's see about right now, probably about a couple $100,000 a month.
Nice, nice, okay. So the first thing I'd say is, especially with display, right, you have, if you're doing managed placements, it's a little bit more relevant, but really you want to think about where the traffic's coming from. So if you're doing a bunch of managed placements on specific domains, right, you're going to kind of want to tailor landing pages specifically to those audiences, because obviously across networks they're going to have, or across sites you're going to have different, demographics of people, right? So the first thing coming to this, the problem is this doesn't really seem targeted much at all, because it's kind of like a landing page, but it's also kind of just a content page, and it's there's a bunch of text. Most of it is kind of condensed and squished together. There's not very many call-outs. There's some stuff that are, you've got this red font and everything in here, but there's no like headlines. There's no real natural progression to leading people down the page. You know what I mean? So especially when you're paying for traffic, it's really important that you really test and refine your landing pages to see how they perform against each other from specific campaign sources, right? So if you're, CNN.com or CNET or something like that, build a page specifically kind of tailored to that. And you want to, especially with display, right, it's important that you match the messaging that's on the ad to the messaging that's on the page. Because if someone clicks on the ad, first of all, the thing about display campaigns is that people who click on ads are typically a lot different than people who click on traditional PPC, right? Because PPC is, if you're running, just search network or whatever, without partners or anything, people are used to the kind of search experience, and they're looking for something, they click on a result, and they're used to getting it, right? With display, it's very different because you're showing an ad on multiple different sites across all over, and the traffic is unique all the time. So it's not like, if you're not doing are you doing any remarketing, RSLA, or anything like that?
Retargeting?
Yeah.
Not at the moment.
Okay. So, you have this ad, and if they click on that ad, they kind of don't know what to expect, right? They didn't search for anything. They're not specifically looking for something. You're just piquing their interest by whatever, kind of advertising message that you put up. So you really want to match that ad to the page and tailor the messaging and the call-outs so that they get kind of a constant, consistent flow.
So,
Congruency.
Right.
And would that also apply to the image as well, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
Correct, yes.
Has image and text. So you
and
can
color
discuss
and
it.
font.
Right.
So if you show an image, for example, of an overweight person, right? On the ad, would you want the landing page to also have that?
Yeah, well,
The question is, if you still show an overweight person on the ad, would you want it on the landing page? The answer is yes.
Same person. I mean,
Yes,
much-
you need consistency. That's part of
For
conversion.
me, I think it's the most important thing is the messaging, right?
Correct.
Because you're not going to just show an ad with an overweight person, right?
So-
There's going to be some sort of messaging, some sort of call to get that click. Once you get that click, now you need to kind of continue that story. In this page, it looks like I don't see, I see that you're using, a couple of different, networks and analytics and stuff to do tracking and all that stuff, but I don't see any, A/B testing or any kind of tools like that plugged in. So you're just using this one page. So really what you want to do is start versioning the page, matching it to the ads, and really trying to create, a flow from the click to the conversion, and really make that as seamless as possible. You know what I mean? Because right now, you kind of, if you're sending traffic to this page, they're going to get here, and it's like, okay, well, do I want to sit and read all of this stuff? It's going to take me
So
probably
Kenny,
4
let's
minutes.
get into the actual design of the page a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
So the first thing that we're seeing here is that you have two gigantic titles and headlines. That's not very good, and you have a ton of content. When you're doing a media buy, especially on news sites, or if you go into social media, a lot of people are mobile. And the biggest issue is you have no calls to action above the fold, and you have no value statement that's clear in your face, gives you 1 second to understand it and read through. By adding in some calls to action throughout that are consistent, that could help. There's a tool that I use, it's called mouseflow.com, and it does a lot of video recording. It's an awesome and very inexpensive tool. And what it's going to do is record as people are hitting it and as they're using it, and give you individual videos as well as heat mapping and a ton of other great things. You also want to try to reduce this. Like, look how big this is right here. You have so much space being used by this, and there's excess words that may work but may not work. So try to shorten it, like the secret for promoting normal blood sugar levels or something like that. You want to try to reduce this, and you also may notice people trying to click on since 2008, but it's not clickable. It looks like a call to action, but the first one we get to is all the way down your page. Imagine this on a mobile device, trying to read all of this only to get to here. And then you have get my 15-day sample, but you don't have a guarantee, you don't have a trust factor, you don't have any sort of SSL, you don't have an as seen on or seen in or reviewed by in this section. So by adding in those extra securities and extra trustworthy points, and by making sure they know it's a no risk or something, that may help you increase the clicks, but also bring it up higher, put it above the fold, and make it consistent. As you hit that next page down, make sure there's a call to action flowing through. The more they read, the more they go. And MouseFlow will also give you a scroll chart to show you how low people actually go on it.
Or you can keep it, do like a little sticky header, right? So when you start scrolling, the button and the call to action kind of stay there with the page. There's all kinds of stuff. The other really big thing, this is a one-page site, effectively, right? You've maybe got a couple-step process behind it. Right. It's loading in 3.5 seconds. Why is a one-page landing page with just text on it? There's no videos, there's hardly any images. This page should be loading in half a second. You know what I mean? Especially if you're sending paid traffic, it's extremely important that your pages load quickly if you're paying for traffic to your site, because that's when bounce rates skyrocket, especially because of mobile, right? And you're running display. Most of your traffic, I'm guessing probably 65–70% of your traffic is probably mobile if you're targeting managed placements, right?
Let's
and
let
if
Scott
you've
jump
got
in
a
'cause we have
3-second
1
load
minute.
time, people are just going to start clicking back. They click the ad and then they're going to be like, nope.
The other thing as well is because you've got basically a 2-page site, public, you've got an HTTPS part of your site, your website, that is still actually within Google's index that has 14 pages. You'd have your dev clean that up and get rid of it. For a simple fact, if there ever is to be any potential SEO issue here, that's going to be holding it back forever.
Okay,
So if you
guys.
do like a site search bloodsugarnews.com within Google, it'll show an HTTPS version of your site that has no formatting or CSS any longer.
So we're going to move on to the next site because we're 10 minutes in. Oh yeah, of course. And we're going to try to save about 5 or 10 minutes for random Q&A at the end. Or if you didn't like it, just throw something at us and say you guys suck. But so our next site is acdc.com. Whose site is this? Hey, so what are you hoping to get out of this? What's your goal?
Well, we're a software company, so we also have an advertisement as well for affiliates. So we just want to get that correctly for you guys.
Okay, so you're looking for more organic rankings? Are you trying to monetize differently?
We're a photo management editing software.
How well do you know the history of your website?
The history of the website, right?
What happened at the end of 2010? Oh yeah, you guys were kicking butt with traffic, and all of a sudden you dropped to almost zero. I mean, was there a major update, a redesign, site migrate? I'm showing, at least from the external tools, in between November 2010 through, or October 2010 through November, all the way down until January 2011.
What was changed?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you guys did a site redesign, a migration, changed platforms from like ASP to PHP, anything like that?
Actually, I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Who changed this website?
Well, because, all through 2010, my traffic is showing that you were doing like 50,000 visitors or so per day, or not per day, but per month. And then you jumped up to 100. No, this is all organic from Google. This is not any other traffic source mixed in. And then you jump down to where you're persistent now to where you're doing less than 10,000 a month. And again, these numbers are not your analytics numbers. These are external tools. This is SEMrush. But generally, from a directional perspective, it's extremely accurate.
Well, I would say, don't know.
That would be something I would investigate, because you guys were kicking butt before.
So you're,
Well, partially maybe digital photography getting less popular.
Possibly, yeah.
one thing you're going to want to look at is your code. Whoever designed the site used a lot of tags and schema in the wrong way.
Was it changed right at 2010?
I'm talking about what's on the site right now. On this
Yes.
current page, you have an H1 tag, but no actual wording in it. So this page, the H1 tag should be the main keyword phrase of the page, or something user-friendly that also incorporates a variation or has modifiers of it. Okay, then you skip H2 completely and go to H3, and then you go to H4 and H5. And basically, you cannot just go down. You can't go H1, H3, H4. You can go H1, H2, H3, H4, H2, H3, but you cannot skip going down. You can skip when you go back up. So that's something, and you're going to want to start to look through that. I'm just going to dig around a little more. Well, the title's right here on this page. I'm not on the home page, though.
Yeah, when you go to the homepage itself, hover over, you see the link, it's stuck with like a short paragraph.
So yeah, your title tag, I believe, has to be less than 55 characters, and your goal here is, so the title, think of it as a user experience thing and not an SEO thing. The title tag's seen in a bookmark, it's seen in a history, it's seen as people share if you don't have custom settings in your social sharing icons. And it's also what people see as they do a search in a search engine. So your title has to stand out. So if you're trying to rank for blue widgets and everyone says buy blue widgets, buy blue widgets, buy blue widgets, you want to stand out. So maybe go a little bit longer than them and say like the best blue widgets at an awesome price or something, as long as it fits within. On the other side, if everything's long, try to go a little short and try to just compete and make yourself stand out. Because if you're not in the top 3, you may be able to get some clicks on 4 because you don't blend in. That's weird. Go on, Kenny. Oh no, I thought you guys found something.
No, I found, go ahead, sorry.
So when you're seeing the drop off, was it happening like suddenly, or is it?
Yes, extremely sudden. So if you go to semrush.com and you plug in your domain, in the dashboard itself, it'll actually show a graph of that.
SEMrush.com.
.com. And again, it's not that the numbers are precise, but the direction and the accuracy of that is extremely close to reality.
So,
Any speculation why it would happen?
Usually, well, the thing is back then, the updates were a little off. We weren't tracking updates, and Google wasn't, let's say, verifying or confirming updates as regularly as they are now, or at least in the last couple of years. But it looks to me as if, since I can't see an update from that, I mean, more than likely you probably went through something like that. It would just be curious to see what that is more than anything. One thing I did find that you guys are doing that you may or may not get in trouble for is that You guys are 302ing one of your subdomains to Facebook and stealing their listing in the search engine. So it's r.acdc.com and then some, K8PTE. If you do a site : acdc.com, the last listing for me, which is ACD Systems-Facebook, you click on that URL, it 302s over to Facebook, but what's happening is Google is listing your website as a Facebook listing.
Some more things. You may want to switch to absolute URLs from broken. It just makes life easier, doesn't confuse Google as much, and it's just a lot easier to use. And you also have canonical links on non-paginated series and non-duplicated pages. There's a canonical link on your homepage. There's one on our standalone product page. You don't really need them there because this is where the content is. You don't have to guide back. Canonical's meant to say if the same content exists or the same design and everything exists on 2 pages, here's the page you should index. You use rel prev and rel next on a paginated series to guide Google through that series. You're just using it on every single page, which can be a little bit excessive.
The other thing as well is you've got a lot of language pages.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're going to use a language, then make sure your description is in that language as well, because your French page, I believe your German page has a English description tag. So it's showing up in the search results as an English description versus it should be German. It's not going to help anybody in Germany if Google decides to use that meta description as part of your snippet.
Can you tell me a little bit about acdc.com versus acdsystems.com and why there are two and why you're not using ACD Systems?
We're actually going to roll out the ACDSystem.com pretty soon.
Okay.
It was using it, but it was a company product, a company side versus a product side.
Okay.
At one point, we decided to merge it together into just using one. We redirected it.
What year was that?
That's pretty early. I think it was 2000, like 10 years ago or something.
So you're going to be rolling back to ACD Systems?
Yeah, we're looking at it to have more corporate focused products, and we're having ACD Systems roll out.
Gotcha. Because you have a ton of links on both domains, right? And they're good too. You have a bunch of links on ACD Systems. You've got approximately 8,000 unique domains linking to you, and then acdc.com. You've got about 9,000 domains linking to you, and they're all it seems majority of them are topically computers, gaming, that kind of stuff. Sounds really relevant, right? But the big question is, first of all, you don't get 9,000 and 8,000 unique referring domains without having operated both sites at one point independently. And the question is, when was that happening, and when, you have to be really careful about these things, right? Because 9,000 unique domains is like gold, right? It's really valuable. So when you just start switching and 301ing, 302ing things back and forth and kind of switching directions all the time, you're really going to give Google a hard time because they've associated this domain with, X, and then now they have this other domain, and they're extremely, high in overlap. But if you keep going back and forth between redirecting them to each other, it's really just going to try and you're confusing the bots. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially when you're dealing with so many links, because, the problem is not only do you have a ton of links, but you also have a ton of pages, right? So having a ton of pages, now you've got all these pages and all these links going to all these pages all over the place. So when you flip the switch, right, now you've got a whole other system, and Google's like, they just have to kind of throw their hands up and try over, right?
Basically.
So you're going to keep giving yourself problems in the search engines because you don't have like a consistent focus and direction.
Yeah. Whenever you're ready to do that, you need to seriously work with a competent SEO person to make sure you have a site migration strategy and to help you work through the technical side of that.
And the other thing,
because otherwise you could lose everything you've got right now and never ever actually gain it back.
You also want to preserve, right? If you decide to move forward with ACD Systems and not use acdc.com, you want to preserve those 8,000 unique domains, right? So there are ways that you're going to want to set up redirects so that the pages that are being link to the appropriate pages on your other site. You want to do a global redirect, right? And then you want to also really you're going to probably have to hire a couple of people, but you're going to really want to go through all of those links. And once you do make a firm decision on which domain you're going to be moving forward with, don't change it back But go through and, 301 that domain, and then you're going to want to go through and try and preserve as many of those links by having those people link to the new location, update them.
Kenny's absolutely right. I mean, you at this point may have a significant amount of missed opportunities from acdsystems.com because you've just got it globally redirecting to your homepage.
So we got to start moving on to the next one. My advice on that is grab a big pot of coffee and a big bottle of wine to celebrate after, because you are going to be a nervous wreck for 24 hours. First, use Majestic, which they have pulled open right now, and crawl. Figure out what pages have which links to them, what you want to keep, what you don't. Set up your redirects, cache the site, and watch Google insanely closely for when it starts to reindex. Also, make sure both are listed inside Webmaster Tools, both the www and non-www, and fingers crossed everything goes smooth. And keep a log of the old site so you can restore, just in case something goes wrong. Do you guys have any other quick ones before we move on to the next?
No, but I mean, as I said, just make sure that, when you go through this, work with somebody. Definitely work with somebody.
Scott would be a good option. Kenny's a good option.
There are a lot of good
Alan
options.
Bleiweiss
They would
is
all be good
good.
options.
Ray Hoffman.
That's the best advice, period, is just make sure you work with somebody.
And they have to be solid in tech SEO. Not SEO, tech SEO.
Yeah.
Not content marketers.
Okay? Cool. No problem. So we have saysopubs.com next. Whose site is this?
Wait, what is it?
Hey, how are you? Oh, you guys didn't get it?
No, what is it?
It's saysopubs.com. Sorry about that. Here you go. Sitting up here, that's my fault. Do you guys want to move on to the free VinCheck one instead?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, we can do this one. We can jump right on in.
So what are you hoping to get out of this session?
Well, basically the website's brand new, so we can't just launch it and really promote it here. It's really there to allow publishers to come sign up and get our offers directly from that site. At the minute, it's all in a manual process where we look at
Can you use the microphone? It's just a little hard to understand you. I'm sorry. I know that's like, oh yeah, I don't want to get on a microphone, but we all feel the same way coming in here.
Is it on?
Yes.
Right. So basically, the site is there to allow publishers to come to us and pull offers directly, and also to be able to log in and see their stats. That's something the publishers have been asking. At the minute, everything's manual. The setup of the offers is all manual between us and the publishers or the network, and stats as well. We send them all. It's all manual reporting. So it's really trying to automate things and just allow the publishers to set everything up themselves.
So your goal is to help either affiliates or bloggers or whoever the publisher you're going after is find offers and convert better on the site. It's not to rank the site better?
Well, I guess it will be for ranking as well. So, I mean, if there's any feedback you can give us about like ranking the site, that's going to be really helpful because, as I say, it's a brand new site.
Is there a country focus on this?
No, well, we're actually active in 18 geos around the world. Like the US is our biggest market, so yeah.
Okay, so it's mainly just focused on the US?
Well, I mean, it is. The US is our biggest market, followed by Canada, and we're in Europe and parts of Asia as well.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I mean, the first thing I'd say is that you're going to need content on your site. Right now, I mean, when I come into your homepage, besides the sign up and the login and not even the contact, you're a single page website. So you can only really rank for what's on this page. So if you want to rank for anything else other than the words that are here, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Also, you have to think of a content strategy on how you're going to do
Also,
that.
your robots text file is improperly configured, so you're not going to rank for anything ever until you fix it.
Okay.
You have user agent, and then you have a disallow with a slash. You want to remove the slash in your slash robots.txt
You're basically
file
telling the search engines
to go away.
Don't come back.
Really?
Yeah.
So another thing is it just says about us. Why not talk about the benefits of being a publisher? Why do I not see anything about offers, what you could do, what you can promote, what your service offers? I just see about us. And you also have this big stock image of like people's hands up at the Love Parade does, God, I'm aging myself. What's a Electric Daisy Carnival? I think that's what the kiddos are doing this year nowadays. But basically stock photos, this photo isn't anything about monetizing, making money. It's a random hand shaped like a heart in the air. It doesn't describe what you are or what you do.
Right.
Get them to the point about what you can do for them.
Right.
I don't see any way to really contact you except contact us. To add legitimacy to yourself, How many competitors do you have out there? You have VigLink, you have all the blogger networks, Blogger Connect, She-Blogs, everything. You know, so there's nothing really here to stand out why people should use you, why they should trust you. So maybe add in some trust factors. Is there anything about current bloggers or publishers or whoever's using you in here?
So yeah, we have a couple of quotes just from existing partners, some user quotes there as well.
Why do you have a picture of a baby here?
So Research for Good, we're a market research company, and basically we provide respondents to our clients to take part in our online surveys. For every completed survey, we make a donation to charity, which equates to 1 meal for a hungry person around the world.
So why do you not have that picture of the baby on a charity page about how you donate and profit from charity, and then say why we're different, our proceeds help charity, and put it there? That baby probably isn't going to help someone sign up for your network and stuff unless it's on a page that it's relevant for. This goes back to the site we looked at first, where it's what does this image match our messaging? And if everything needs to match, be consistent, and flow together, or you're going to lose some of the focus and some of the relevance from it.
Yeah, I mean, basically what you've got is a one-page site. You need to first unblock it so the search engines can crawl it. You come up with a content strategy, and then, as Adam mentioned, I mean, each one of these sections should really be its own page.
Right.
Because you put in a decent amount of content into a lot of this to where it really kind of deserves a page, but the About Us shouldn't be on your homepage. You know,
Right.
This should be a conversion point, an introduction to your company for the visitors.
I have a really big one. I clicked on your sign up today and I can't sign up today, tomorrow, ever, because it's not a clickable link.
Okay.
You
Also-
might want to fix that one.
One thing to just think about with the content strategy, you really want to match your efforts both internally and externally, right? Because content plus links is what develops organic natural traffic. So when you're developing your content and building out the site, keep in mind, how you're going to use the site for outreach to go get other people to get press about your site, and where will those pages be that are going to be the key points for you to drive traffic to for conversions. And then you want to build content around that so that you can also do outreach and, interviews or, all that kind of stuff on other people's sites, and have a place for those links to go that's, as relevant as you can make it for, your conversion process and whatever those types of terms are that people would potentially be looking for to come up with, get your site as a result.
Yes, let's do something we haven't done before. We have someone in the audience that wants to say something.
That's our internet more than anything. More than likely. I mean,
Yeah.
It could be a problem, but yeah.
I did a page speed lookup. It's loading really quickly. It's not, you don't have a speed problem. It's the Wi-Fi.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else on this?
The only other thing I wanted to say is, as you're trying to get people to sign up on the site, when you send them over to ops.researchforgood.com, which I'm assuming is your domain as well,
It is, yeah.
I probably wouldn't do that. Unless there's a specific purpose, or say so pubs is a landing page. You want that to all kind of take place within the domain itself for trust.
Right.
One other thing I just noticed, on the contact us, you have say hi to say so. One thing that you probably want to know, you have 3 different types of people that are probably reaching out to you. And so the first is a publisher, someone who has traffic. The second is an advertiser. The third is a charity that wants your money. So why not ask them what they are?
Okay.
Like, if you know who's writing to you, you know how to better respond. You can set up your autoresponders to be relevant to that specific person, and then you can better start the relationship and communication with them. Do you guys have anything else?
No, just develop a content strategy, because that's, display, you don't have to display the offer data that you're doing, but display the merchants you're working with or the types of offers you have. How is anybody to know what you actually can show them as a benefit when they don't come to you without talking to you first?
Sure.
Email outreach or in person, the people are going to get that, they're going to understand it, and that's fine. But when people have just found you, or picked up a business card or a flyer and they don't necessarily know, you want to make sure that you can educate them. That helps you with search as well.
So we're going to move on to, Kenny, do you have anything else, or are we good? Okay, cool. So we're going to go to vincheckup.com. Whose site is this? Hey, so what are you hoping to get out of the session, or what are you looking for? Okay.
Hello again. So primarily, we would like, of course, to get organic traffic. We haven't started our PPC campaign yet, since the website is pretty new. The biggest question I had is we were trying to build like a directory with VIN numbers and cars and models and stuff. As I was reading on blogs and stuff, I was wondering if it's not gonna conflict with Google of creating like script-generated pages.
Is the content going to be unique?
Yes, it will be unique.
Because you're writing it, you're creating the content yourself. It's not VIN data that you're pulling from a
No,
secondary
yeah, we're
source.
gonna create it ourselves, of course. Yeah.
Then sure, you'll be fine.
That was my biggest question, I guess.
So you are going to have some problems though, because you have really, really terrible links. Looking through your backlinks, you've got.
Sorry, interrupting. The domain was like it was existed before, and the design is new. So after we created it, we just like recently found out there's a lot of bad backlinks, like spammy backlinks. I've been fighting with them for a month now, and it's pretty hard to get rid of them.
Just disavow them all.
Yeah, we tried, and it's just keep appearing, I guess. We also work with search optimization team that is helping us to get rid of them, but there's some kind of technical issue with that. So.
Yeah, you want to make sure, so it's kind of a, almost a three-part process, right? One is taking care of the bad links that are there, whether that means disavowing or going out and contacting the sites directly and trying to get them to actually physically remove the location of the links from the source. In your case, it's probably going to be pretty hard to do that because a lot of these links are from, .rus and all kinds of weird places that you probably won't be able to communicate with. So you might have some trouble there, so I would disavow those ones. And then you also want to, anytime I have like a new site or I'm working on a new project or revamping an old domain that's been dusty for years, what I like to do is kind of try to make it look like the site was purchased, right? So you bought this domain, so it's a legitimate thing. And there's ways to kind of fake it anyway. But you changed registrars probably, the IP's changed, it's on a new server, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're telling Google this kind of story, right? Here's a site that's been here for a while, and now we're making all these changes. And you want to have, like a finality event to where that process is done. So the new site's up, disavows are going live, blah, blah, blah. And then what you really need to do, because you have, some rankings developed, right? Not until the 5th or 6th or, 100th ranking or whatever, pages down the search result. But the fact is, free VIN search, free VIN lookup, free VIN checkup, all these types of terms, you rank in the 50s to 80s for, right? So that's a decent sign. At least it's not nowhere, right? But it's probably some sort of algorithmic penalty because you have all these really bad links. So then what you're going to want to do is, kind of go in and really put some effort into like that initial launch kind of promotion, right? Whether that's, launching a press release and trying to get some syndicated coverage on maybe auto sites or something like that, or running some, display placements across a couple of targeted, locations across the internet to show that your brand is like, reboot, you know what I mean? And getting a couple of extra of those links, if you can get a couple of, I mean a couple, maybe 5, like high quality links, then that's that kind of like, oh, there's quality here again. Forget about all that spam from Russia and all this other stuff. We're starting fresh. And then that's when you could kind of start to see those rankings that are on, page 5 and 6 start popping up a little bit more, and you can really start focusing in on, specific phrases that are going to drive you the highest amount of relevant traffic.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, with the amount of pages that you have and lack of content, and considering that your domain was a affiliate for casinos.
I actually don't know what was it used for.
Well,
before.
at least according to the backlink profile, the number one
there's a
anchor
lot of
text coming in is
I saw there's a lot of
casino,
casino
bonus,
links, yeah.
gambling, slots, things like that. So somebody had either used it or something of that nature, but there's a lot pointing into it. One, whoever your SEO is, make sure they're disavowing every single one of those damn links now. It should not wait. There should be no technical issues with it, nothing like that, because I could do it in 5 minutes.
Okay.
One thing that I noticed.
And then 2, as he said, build up new links. You need to show them that you're a new company.
So some of the things that I've been seeing reading through this is you guys write like an essay. You're not writing for the user. VIN checkup vehicle history reports are made up of multiple sections and contain a large amount of information on any vehicle. Our reports, so what you have is wee-wee syndrome. And wee-wee syndrome is you just talk about yourself and me, which I do all the time. But it needs to be about you and your. So what is it about a vehicle history report? Buying a car, especially a used car, can be a nerve-wracking thing. What if my kids aren't going to be safe in this car? What if it's going to be damaged? What if it has a bad engine, or it's had to have, like, it has a really bad defect that I don't know about? So make it about the person. Instead of our reports can provide you, your vehicle report or your VIN report or whatever it is going to help you discover the car that keeps you safe, costs you less money, and knows if you should buy this. And that's like a bad example, but you see what I mean? Make it about the end user and something that's important to them. Saving money, protecting their family, protecting their kids. And you also, this is your about page. About should be about you, not what is a vehicle history report. That should be about that. So instead of using / in the about folder, make it the VIN checkup. Or actually, that's not a folder, it's just a static page. But put up a page which is about a vehicle history report and what it is, and talk to the end user about it using you and your terms, and add benefits to them. What is someone looking for? What are they looking for with the best price? And when we go back to your homepage, what's nice is that you have how can I find my VIN? And you show that it's right here on the inside of the car and right there. But what about doing a big directory of the most popular models for resale or the most popularly purchased ones? I'm sure those reports exist somewhere. So why not create it and have the car show the exact spot where it's going to find and write the detailed step-by-step instructions? Google shows a ton of these snippets and what they're doing. Like if you type in water boiler, you're going to notice like it's going to talk about it. It's going to be Home Depot and Lowe's. And what's funny is one of them replaces the other with an image half the time from the other store, even though they're using the description. But this is where you could actually go in, find my VIN on a Ford Focus or find my VIN on a Lamborghini. And you can start to take some of that by adding in this information individually. So go and find what are the most popular cars that are going to be bought, are the used cars bought in 2016. And start to go through and build your content around that, because that's what's going to be happening over the next year. And you can grab some of the graphs and everything and the snippets there.
The other thing as well is your SEO company or SEO people, basic stuff like you've got both versions, the dub and the non-dub are both being indexed in Google. That's like SEO 101 no-brainer.
Yeah, just like recently started, like 2 weeks ago. I guess.
Yeah.
Still
I
in
mean,
progress.
that should be number one. I mean, if anything, some of the things we're saying maybe help you evaluate whether or not you are working with a company that knows what they're doing or not as well. And I mean, they absolutely might. But I mean, these are things that, I mean, from my perspective, I would have been, before I even delivered a report, I would say, look, you guys got to fix this right away. I mean, because there's no risk, it's not worth waiting 2 weeks or a month or 2 months before you fix this. You need to get this done now.
A few people have come in a little bit late, so as you guys are coming in, if you want us to review your site, bring up a card, and if we don't get to it in this session, we'll bring it back. We're also going to save 5 or 10 minutes for Q&A, so if there's a term or a question you don't understand, write it down, and you can ask towards the end of the session, okay?
And
just wanted to throw
one
that out
more
again.
on this. Your register.php page?
I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, you've got like it's vincheckup.com/register.php parameter, and then the VIN equals, and then whatever the VIN is.
Yeah.
You got quite a few of those pages indexed. Do you know how that's happening?
Technically, no, I do not.
Okay. I'd probably investigate that as well, because right now all of these pages are, other than the actual VIN number that's on the page, it's all duplicate content, because the exact same page is going over and over and over because it's behind a sign up. And that would be something as well. If you're going to create a VIN directory, that's fine, but it needs to be public. And since you're selling, access to data, you're going to need to creatively be able to figure out how you're going to still be able to present unique data on every VIN's page number without getting yourself into a penalty situation. If you get filtered as low quality and get filtered into like what's called Google's Panda, then to be honest, you're going to have a problem that's going to persist with you for a long time until you figure it out. So as much as I said yes prior, now looking at this page, if this is how it's going to kind of look, I'd probably say no. Because unless you're going to give this to the engines, it's going to be unique, I wouldn't do it. Because what you're doing is you're putting yourself into a situation where you're never going to be able to grow organically because you've got a filter that's applied across your domain.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so we have about 1 more minute on this site.
I think we're
Anything
good.
else?
Yeah, let's move.
Okay, so our next site is vapingcheap.com. Okay, sorry about that. Whose site is Vaping Cheap? Hey, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So what are you hoping to do, or what do you want to get from us out of the session?
Just some general advice, I guess. I do have a few questions, but
Vaping is bad for you. There you go.
That's debatable.
Happy Affiliate Summit.
but yeah, just some general advice. I do have some questions.
Allegedly bad for you.
Ranking for category pages and articles. I feel like now I should maybe target more keywords with a longer article instead of making one article on best vape mods, one article on best temperature control vape mods, maybe bring that into one article. I'm kind of wondering what your guys' thoughts on that is.
Where is he?
So he's looking for a lot of content, I guess. Can you try to be a little, so are you looking for more unique articles, content ideas, distribution through your content, or what's the goal?
Right now I try to target one keyword with one article, and so I have two different articles for two keywords that are pretty similar, and I'm wondering if it's better now to combine it into one longer article and then target more keywords with one longer article, because that's kind of what I'm seeing now.
So the fun part with SEO is no matter how good or bad the SEOs are, they're going to disagree on certain things. And I think the three of us are probably going to be pretty similar on this, but we may disagree with each other on other things. So a stat came out recently that the majority of pages have over 3,000 words on it that have the top ranking in Google. Now, that's also biased because it's for all of Google, not for people looking for a specific thing, but within reviews, especially in something that's competitive like vape, more may help you. However, you don't want to necessarily just focus two similar keywords on the same page. Google continuously gets smarter, and it starts to pick up and notice modifiers, modified versions, like a past tense, a plural tense, a future tense, buy online, compare review. So you may just want to try to incorporate this through, and internal linking structures are going to be your friend here. So you want to map out your site. You have a good navigation. You're not keyword stuffing it, which is good. And as you go through, if you mention vape deals, for example, you're going to want to keep that separate from your coupon codes section. And as you're writing about an article, if you mention vape deals, make sure it's not linked into the coupon codes. Go up to the vape deals and link upwards. That's going to help to differentiate which page is about which. And you may want to try to start combining and not going with very, very similar variations of words. Put them on the same, and Google's going to notice. I've also found with some of my sites and some of my clients that reducing keyword density below 2% has increased our rankings. So the keyword density is not as important. It's more about the user intent and user experience. So by trying to provide a better user experience with it and using variations, Google will start to adjust and know what's happening based on the query, the search history, the browsing history, and everything else they can get their hands on.
So I did a site query search on your domain, and all of the pages that show up besides the home page say vapingcheap.com/likes, and then they have another slash, and then they have some sort of brand.
Those are redirects.
Yeah. So that's a really big problem because all of the pages that Google's showing in your index aren't actually your pages. And they're, basically you have like all this fake content, right, that Google is indexing, but it's redirects to sites that aren't yours.
Yeah, that used to be disavowed, but my hosting account isn't letting me change the robot files. That's another one of my questions. I'm thinking of switching because Google also can't see the layout files.
Right.
And is that pretty important now for them to actually be able to load?
So the thing is, you want to give them the map of what your site is, right? So you have a XML sitemap? I haven't checked yet.
I mean, basically what he's saying, and I'll just say it because he's not saying it, from Google's perspective, technically you're a spammer.
Right.
And I mean, I know you and understand that you're not, but if Google decides that this is going to trip a penalty, it's going to require a lot of work to get out of it. So it's probably a good idea to try and nip this in the butt now.
So what's the solution, a disavow?
Well, make sure, for one, you're not 302 redirecting to any page externally. Because when you redirect to a page externally, what you're doing is you're telling Google that this is a temporary redirect from domain A to domain B, but you want them to still keep domain A, your domain, in the search results. Now, if this is a tactic you want to use, it unfortunately still works within Google, and it is a valid tactic. The problem is that you're going to end up becoming a spammer later on. And again, unintentionally, I would assume.
Yeah.
But this is something you should, again, go after right away, just like the other, with the last site with Vin Checkup. I mean, these are things that need to be dealt with immediately, because you just never know when Google's going to do it.
So should I stop using the redirects at all?
Well, you
or
should stop using the redirects as they are set up now, because I'm going to assume this is a 302 redirect. I haven't actually checked it just yet, but if it's a 302, this is what causes this in the search engines. Now, from a revenue standpoint, this actually might be great, but again, later down the road, if this is a solid business for you, this is going to harm you.
What you need to do also is you want to give them what you want them to see, right? So I can't see, maybe you do have, but I can't see an XML sitemap, which basically you need to have so that you
It should be down there at the very bottom in the left-hand side. At the very, very bottom in the little navigation on the left-hand side.
So,
Well, I'm talking about an XML
Yeah,
sitemap. Oh, there it is. Oh.
okay, so
So you need to link that in your robots text, right, and tell Google where it is, because it's not at sitemaps.xml. It's at, you have an index, right? You want to make sure that that's being updated regularly, and then you really need to make sure that your navigational architecture is really set in stone, and you want to set higher priorities for those pages, and you want to really kind of filter things into sort of a categorical structure, right? So you've got vape deals, e-cig reviews, e-cig articles, new gear, coupon codes, giveaways, black book, right? So if you've decided that those are all your top level pages, then everything else should follow into that. And all of those structures, you should be doing, like what Adam was saying with internal links and everything, you should be having a natural sort of progression of links internally that point to those pages more often than all of the other pages, and then there's some sort of regular kind of systematic linking structure as you get down further through the tree. Because right now, Google doesn't really have a real solid context of what your important pages are. That's why all these redirects things are showing up. You definitely need to block those. You can also just put in your robots text file to disallow /likes.
That's what I had previously, but the hosting company I'm with now won't let me. Every time I change the robots file, it just updates automatically back
Yeah,
to
So
there.
switch hosts.
They definitely change your host
Yeah,
right
switch
away.
hosts immediately. That's terrible. You
But-
need to be able to, run your server the way
Yeah.
you want it.
Even on top of that, make sure it's not a 302 redirect.
and then
That's the thing. I mean, even though you're
I'll have to
blocking
look.
it with
I'm not
bot-
sure which redirect I use. I'm guessing it's 302. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
let's assume it's a 302. That needs to be a 301 or just simply not. I mean, one of the best things that Ray Hoffman, who actually is one of the better SEOs out there, talks about is for affiliate marketing would be Pretty Link Pro. Use that to manage your external links for this, and it'll take care of the situation right away.
if you're
assuming
looking
you're
for
on WordPress.
hosting,
Yeah, you're on WordPress 'cause you're using
Rainmaker is
Yoast.
awesome. A couple things. So you have a ton of content on your page, which is really, really good. But this page is, so two quick things. First, because you have a ton of content, put a newsletter sign up over here on the bottom. Okay, so you have it. It
pops
just
up.
showed up. It took a while, but
It's supposed to
add
be
that
like
there.
a 1-second delay just to grab people's attention.
It just came up now. I've been on this page for a while. I was
it
gonna
doesn't-
say,
it doesn't
that's going to
pop
be
up-
awesome for getting you opt-ins at the
And-
bottom.
Until until you're looking at it, it doesn't. It takes 1 second as soon as you scroll down that far to pop up to catch your attention.
One thing that I might do here, so first off, you have an entire thing of where it's friendly to vape in public. And so you have West Shore Plaza. Why not have that page on your website and then link to it from that page? Okay, instead of because this page is about where you can do it, and you list all these resources. Build out those pages for those resources. Then you also have airports here, like Tampa International and Reagan in DC. And what would be amazing here is to provide a better user experience. So let them click on Reagan and put see map here. Now put that map and do an interactive map to show where the vaping areas are. So that way the people can look at what gate we're on. So label all the gates, the maps already exist. Label the gates, label the vaping areas, label where the easiest way to get out of the airport is to go vape if you can't, and provide an actual experience. Because when someone gets off that plane and they want their vape, give them the information they need to find it instantly, and especially on a mobile device, because they're probably not going to pop out their computer to look. They're going to be on their phone. Where can I grab my vapor? And so get them to that vaping spot, give them an interactive map or show them you're here, or just show them by gate and say, here's the nearest spots you can go to use it. And
It
that
is
could be a
Nathan,
really good user experience and add social sharing. I don't see that. You have the social following, but it takes you off of your website to Facebook, to other places where people can be distracted. So try to increase your user experience. Don't just mention the airport. Show them where they can vape. Show them how they can get in and out easier, and base it off of which terminals they are.
I mean, honestly, man, you've done a phenomenal job. This is a very competitive space, and I mean, I'm just showing, external tools. Traffic's going up.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of traffic from Google. It's about 66% right now.
Nice.
I mean,
You're
honestly,
doing very good
congratulations.
with this.
It's not an easy vertical to play in.
So there's a couple other technical things as well. The first being with your title tags. Title tags are, widely regarded as one of the most important on-page factors, if not the most important single on-page factor for rankings. So you have, your title tags are not optimized at all because you have way too many keywords put into all of your title tags, right? On your home page, you've got best vape deals, vape box mods, reviews, and coupons, vaping cheap, okay? What's your biggest key term?
For the homepage, it's probably vape deals.
Okay, vape deals. So you're adding in all this other stuff and you're cannibalizing the vape deals keyword benefit that you're going to get from having that in the lead of your title tag by including all these other keywords. And then when I click on, for example, vape deals is the first, nav item, right? First problem with this page is that it goes to vapingcheap.com/vape/deals. Why is your top level page under 2 subdirectories? That doesn't make any sense.
The vape is just the categories
I
file,
understand.
and I just changed that.
I get it, but it should, that architecture doesn't really make sense, right? You're going, it's like walking through a front door and then you have to walk through another door before you get to the living room. You know what I mean?
So do I just get rid of the vape?
Well,
category?
so don't just go do anything crazy like that because you do have traffic, right? And you need to make sure that you preserve your links, and I'm sure you have links to this page. So I'm not saying go change it, I'm just saying that's already weird, right? But then this title tag on this page, it's the vape deals page, and you've got title tag is vape deals on vape mods, vape juice, and more, vaping cheap, right? So what do vape mods and vape juice sound like their own pages. That shouldn't be in this title tag. This should just be the deals page. Then have a juices page, have a mods page, and really focus down for those keywords that are like the short tail keywords that you have, vape deals, vape mods, vape juice. These are all really big keywords, right? So you want to have a really strong page for each one of those that you link to from your top navigation, where the keyword strategy is focused specifically around vape deals versus vape juices and mods and everything all on one page, on every page. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're saying to basically, even though vape mods is a keyword I target on a separate page that I have, only don't
focus
don't
it on
use
that. Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So we're down to 8 minutes,
Oh.
so we gotta move on. Let's each give 20-second overviews, and if you could return the microphone to the middle so we can go into Q&A,
Okay.
that would be awesome. If no one has a Q&A, then we'll just grab the next site and use that last 8 minutes. Do you have any last quick things?
That's really just it, is, make sure that your keyword strategies focus, your content strategies focus, per page on the big keywords that you have.
Scott?
Yeah, I mean, overall, good job. I mean, honestly, it's a competitive space. I'm actually quite impressed.
The only last thing I'd say is pull out vape deals from the header where you have see all vape deals. The vape deals is going to pass through. Google knows how to read your dropdown, and that could be looked just as a little spammy. I doubt it's going to hurt you because you don't have deals, deals, deals on everything. But that may just be one thing you want to do because vape deals will pass through. So you could just do see all, e-cigarettes, automizers, and the vape deals should in theory pass through your navigation.
Just the word or the...
Yeah, just pull out the words vape deals so it's see all. Yeah, because the deals and everything should in theory pass through depending on how your code's set up. Okay, so do we have any questions? Don't be shy. Okay, go for it. If you want to go back up to the microphone so everyone could hear. Or if you don't want to use a microphone, you can just say it too. You don't have to get up.
All right, I'll talk loud. I'm just wondering, backlinks. If I have a lot of people that take my content, and so what I've done is sometimes I put links into content like features on products, they'll steal this, and so I put a link in there because a lot of times they'll just copy and paste it, and the link will get passed on.
Great idea.
I think what happens is that they finally see it after weeks or somebody points it out, and then they remove it. And so I'm just wondering, can getting those links added and then removed hurt?
Oh, no, it won't hurt you.
It may have given you a boost and then it be taken away. I mean, that is definitely possible. I will disagree with Kenny a little bit. Duplicated content with links in it, pointing to the source, doesn't necessarily have much value at times. At other times it can, and I mean, I can show you a million sites where it works, but I can also show you another million sites where it actually harms sites. It really depends on how strong your link profile is. And links like that can damage you if your link profile is not that strong, or the fact that it's a high percentage of your links. So that's one thing as well that both I think Kenny and I would agree is, I mean, you need some active, high-quality link building.
Also,
As a side note, I'd say be proactive at going after people that are stealing your content. DMCA, you know, requesting Google, get their pages removed.
Well, a lot of times it's actually like manufacturer's information, but they're finding it through searches on my site, so it's not really my content I've created. It's like manufacturer's spec.
Okay, so tabular data is not that big of a deal with duplicate content unless that's all you have. But if it's content you wrote, protect it with everything you got.
Yeah, I definitely do for that.
Yeah, and if a manufacturer's taking your content, screw them. If you're taking manufacturer's content, well then, I mean, you know that's not necessarily the best way to go for SEO.
one thing you're going to want to be careful of is the keywords you use. If all of a sudden people scrape and you build up a lot of keyword-rich ones instead of brand and natural links, you can get hit by Penguin. So be cautious with that. One thing I do on some of my personal sites and some client sites, when we have that happening as an issue, we add in the terms and conditions and the DMCA stuff that you're welcome to use this. If you don't source it properly, then you owe us a $2,000 media fee. We screenshot the cache, take when it was actually done on their site, we take when it was indexed in Google to show damage, and then we send a nice cease and desist or source properly or pay the bill for the media usage. That if the person's there, usually is a good way to get them to comply. But sometimes you just have people in other countries that scrape and post. So, yes.
So, I'm not an affiliate marketer, I'm in the legal space, and I have my own in-house SEO team. So my question is not going to be, I think it's a general question that you brought up about migration. We're migrating our site, and it's a company that a lot of people in the legal space know called Fine Law. And yeah, but you know, it's interesting, my site actually works because I have an SEO team doing the work that they should be doing, and I've known that for years. And I'm not afraid necessarily I'm going to leave, but I think you're going to try to get me, long story, but we're migrating. And I listen very, very carefully to you, and I have a great team of SEO guys, but I still want someone on the outside who's a migration consultant who will go, who is what you just said, very, very tech SEO, because I can't afford, I'm in a good space right now.
Sure.
Like, I'm in a really good space.
No,
Yeah, we're familiar.
we're very familiar with your website.
It's my guys that are doing it, and so they're a proprietary CMS, and I'm scared shitless. Because we're about
I mean, to be completely honest, look, I've been doing SEO for 18 years, okay? I've been in-house, I've been in agencies, now I run my own thing. Every time I was in-house, and I mean, I ran Edmunds.com's SEO for 4 years, I always worked with an outside company regardless. It's a sanity check, and from my perspective being in-house, it was a CYA, which is a cover your ass. There's nothing wrong with that, and to be honest, I highly recommend you do that.
But the question then, that's the follow-up question, is I've always done that, but now I don't know how to get a I need to get a great migration consultant.
So talk to people. No one's going to give you exactly how to do it because that would just be stupid. And if they do, then guess what? You don't want to go with them. But talk to people and ask them how they might go about it, what type of strategy. Let them look and see how large your site is. If they just give you an immediate quote on a migration, move on. Because if your site's huge and has a ton of everything else, it's going to be a bigger process and you want to really just nitpick about it. Scott and Kenny could both be good resources. You're welcome to talk to me. We are just about out of time though as well. So
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's two ways you can go about it. I mean, you can get the outside strategy, which is going to bruise your internal guys. I've been in that position. Probably the easier thing to do, at least it will help you gauge, is to find somebody that you respect outside and then have them review, starting at the 30,000 foot level, the migration strategy your internal teams come up with. And then as it goes along in that process. And that's usually going to end up being cheaper for you in the long run as well from an external perspective. But I mean, if your in-house guys are good, what you really kind of need is probably a sanity check. Make sure that they are covering every base they can.
Okay, everyone. You all got a little review sheet coming in. We would love, love, love if you give us 10 because they do rate us and give it. But feel free to rate however you felt we all did. My name's Adam Riemer. This is Scott Polk and Kenny Hyder. Thank you for coming to Affiliate Summit West. We have all the information from everyone who typed or gave us a card. I'm going to send an email later today to these guys, and one of us will do our best to reach out to you.
Sure, absolutely.